All right, yeah, I'm back. I've been ranting and raving, man. So let's try to change up the tempo a little bit. Maybe I'm not the best example. I please don't use me as an example of how to live your life. You know? Yeah. Anyway, So yeah. Well, let me. I'll just. This is probably going to be a long video because whatever. And so I'm just going to talk about fucking random shit about me. Now, any and everything I say could be wrong. You know, this is an entertainment purposes only video, and I would encourage you to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. And anyhow, yeah, I'm like right now. I'm just gonna talk about what I'm dealing with. Like right now, I'm fucking exhausted because I've got a little bit of a break right now, but I worked. So I've talked about this in the last couple weeks. I worked for six days a week from December 1st up through March 1st. Yeah. Okay. From December, January, February. So for 4 months straight, I worked 6 days a week for 4 months straight. And then up from December till March, 6 days a week from December until March. And then starting March 1st, I worked 7 days a week from March from March up until about 3 days ago. So that's like 6 weeks, 7 days a week, and then 4 months at 6 days a week. So starting in September, I worked 6 days a week for 4 months, and then it went from 6 days a week starting March 1st to 7 days a week for 6 weeks. And I just finally got a break like about 2 or 3 days ago, and I'm fucking completely fucking exhausted, dude. Like I am like fucked up right now. And it's totally slave labor. It's not some like sit at a desk and play with Facebook kind of job. This is like fucking total slave labor, physical labor, like very just extreme physical labor, nonstop. And actually, like the last day of that 6 week period, I fucked up my back. It's like, of course, the last day, right? But eventually, a human being is gonna give. No human being. Human beings are not supernatural creatures with the ability to perform the supernatural. They're not like robots that can just go 24/7. No, human beings need rest, food, water, and it seems that employers more and more they just don't understand. They don't understand anything outside of their own needs and wants, right? But whatever, I could talk about that for hours, and who would care, right? So, like they say, I could complain, but what's the fucking point, right? Which is probably why a lot of everyday channels just disappeared, because it's like, what's the fucking point, right? So this is for my entertainment purposes only. And, hey, if you can get some entertainment value out of this, good. We all need a little entertainment now and then, right? All work and no play, right? As they say. So I'm like totally fucked, and then but it doesn't end, because it's kind of like this. You understand this? I'm preaching to the choir, but please hear me out anyways. Like, when you get off of work, does that mean that the work is over? No, that means it's time to prepare for the next work day, especially when you don't get days off. No, when you get off of work everything, your whole entire focus is, okay, now I need to prepare because I have to be up awake at 6 a.m. and be at work by 7:30 or 8 or whatever, right? So it's like cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, everything that I need to do in order to prepare for the following day, including rest. I need rest, right? And so even though I just got done with this job like a couple, 2-3 days ago, I am what's the word? Overwhelmed with like all this stuff that I have to do. Like, dude, I have so much shit that I have to do, and it's just paralyzing. Like, as soon as I got here, I started. So, I just had like as soon as, like, from the moment that I got here, it's like I have so much fucking shit to do. It's unreal. And so I'm like trying to do it. As soon as I get here, it's like on and cracking. I got this and that. I got all this shit I got to do. And it's just such an overwhelming amount of shit to do that, after four hours or so of working on it, I'm just like, fuck this, dude. And so I'm just sitting on, and then resting, and like I just, all I've been doing is just resting the last 2 days. And I've got like, just even in this trailer that I'm sitting in right now, like I have so much fucking shit that I have to do that it's unfucking believable. And then on top of that, I feel like, like I'll do videos because, again, it's for my entertainment purposes, and entertainment, despite what you might want to believe, is an important part of life. Like, it's part of just like resting, and because, like they say, all work and no play, and so nobody's goal in life is just to work 24 hours a day. Like, everybody wants rest. Everybody wants to take time to do stuff that they want instead of just work. These are just natural, things in the life of a human being. But and so there's this big argument all over online that the people in power do not treat us like human beings. They treat us like slaves. They put these unreasonable expectations on us to be robots. We are constantly under the gun. We are constantly under attack from the clouds in the sky and any and everything. Clouds in the sky, health, doctors, the prices of food, the prices of just living, and we're constantly nonstop under the gun, and more people, especially since like 2015 and 2016, more and more just average people are starting to perceive, whether it's real or imagined, that we are just being treated like fucking like insects by the people in power, while the people in power just swim in wealth and luxury and debauchery. Their whole lives are nothing but just everything is a permanent vacation for these people that rule over us, and we are constantly non-stop under the gun, attacked from any and every angle imaginable, constantly. And more people are expressing this, again, whether the perception is real or imagined. Many people are expressing that this is like totally fucking insane, right? And it's difficult to not relate with that, no matter who you are, unless you're part of the big club, then you can relate at some degree. Like, what in the fuck? I mean, at some point, something's got to give. This is insane, So anyway, I do videos as entertainment to entertain myself, and but a lot of sometimes when I do videos, I'm emotionally charged about it, or I'm passionate about it, and And so the last couple of days, like, I'm just sick of people saying this stupid fucking shit. Because I'll be like, okay, all right, I'm stupid if I don't understand, so let me look into this. And all I'd have to do is take a couple minutes and look into it and realize, like, dude, this is retarded. The fuck are you even talking about? And it's like everywhere. That's just one of the many attacks that we are constantly under attack with misinformation, disinformation, straight up lies. I'll be listening to somebody making some like fantastical claim about this or that, and how if I'm not in the know on it, I'm a fucking retard. And I'm like, okay, I'll look into it then. And it only takes about a minute to look into it to realize that person is the complete fucking retard. And then it's like this constant non-stop attack, clouds in the air, the cost of food, disinformation, misinformation, endless, non-stop. And it's like, when is this gonna fucking give? What in the fuck is going on here? What in the actual fuck, right? And so, I can pick something stupid like Trump's gonna crush the economy. I don't want to go into it anymore. Like, if you didn't see the video, then who cares? Watch it or don't. I don't give a fuck. And if you did, dude, I'm right. That doesn't even, whatever. So I'm not talking about it anymore. I don't give a fuck. And then the next one is the constant, non-stop machine gun barrage of It's the J's bullets. Non-fucking stop. It is so fucking retarded. So, it's like, dude, this is, well, the reason is because it's true. Like, oh my God. Like, this is all PSYOP Central, bro. This like PSYOP fucking 2.0. And I've already got all this shit that I have to take care of in the real world, and fucking constant, non-stop, all this. Oh my God, bro. So whatever. Anyhow, so now I want to talk about this. So we'll just get right into it. And this is Adapt 2030. And I never really watched Adapt 2030 too much, but a person that I used to know, I guess claims to have been familiar with Adapt 2030, and claims that Adapt 2030 used to be a lot more on par, and now they Adapt 2030 puts commercials and does all, and the person was saying that Adapt 2030 has changed a lot and used to be a lot more solid, and now they're kind of like, which is like with every fucking channel. Like, how uncommon is that you see a channel that's sold out and commercializing and all this other shit? It's just common now. It's just completely normalized at this point. So anyway, so this is Adapt 2030, and there's a little section, a little nugget in here I wanted to play and then talk about it. So without further ado, let's get into that.
So the structure of reality, is something that we've debated with the Great Awakening, and this is tied in, you're saying, to the magnetosphere, which is the protective layer that God put there around our Earth to keep us, from being fried by gamma rays, X-rays, etc., and absorb negative radiation so that life can flourish. But you're saying because the pole is shifting, the magnetic north is moved and shifting, and since we're a magnetic and electric being, our nervous system is electric, it's literally affecting the way we perceive things. And I had not considered that before. That's such an interesting point you made.
Yeah, now live in the suit now. All right, so now just everybody out there listening, can you please just think about your life for the last, say, 3 to 4 years?
All right. First of all, I love that last question he poses to the audience, where he says, everyone listening, please just pause for a moment and take just a minute to just reflect on your life in the last 3 or 4 years. First of all, I love that. It's like, okay. And then just prior to, asking the audience to do this, the idea that he's talking about is that the polar shift. Now, I'm not a scientist. I've heard of this. I don't know a lot of the terminology, so bear with me. I'm going to stumble through the terminology of it. But the polar shift, which is arguably a real thing, that it has been happening in the last 3 or 4 years, which is what is causing a lot of chaos and insanity. And the polar and also, like, the idea of a polar shift taking place, because our brains are composed of electrical signals and shit, that if there is a polar shift, even if it's like a slight one, it can have some kind of effect on our brains, because the polar shift has to do with electrical currents and blah, 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 all this technical shit that I don't know anything about, but you get the gist. And that when a polar shift starts to happen, even slightly, can have a massive impact on the brain's perception of what's going on, because the brain is comprised of electrons and all this other shit, electricity, like in the Matrix when he says, if you're talking about what you can see, smell, taste, touch, and hear, real is merely electrical signals interpreted by our brains, right? So that's what he's talking about. Like in a polar shift, even a slight one, because of how a polar shift is related to electricity and all this other stuff, and we live on the fucking Earth, which is what the polar shift is all about, the shifting of the center of the Earth, the pole shift of the Earth, will cause a shift in all this electrical current stuff that is going on around us in the Earth, and et cetera, et cetera. And because our minds are basically like electrodes or some shit, like we have all these electrons, it'll affect our fucking, our perception of what's going on. And then he asks the audience, please just take a moment and look back on your life in the last 3 or 4 years. Okay, now that's where I want to pause. Right there. Look at please just pause this. Take a moment, stop, and just look at your life in the last 3 or 4 years. So let's do the math. We're in 2025. Let's do the math here. 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022. Okay? 2022, October of 2022 is when the fucking event that I'm trying to storyboard happened. And it was like a massive fucking event that took place right before my eyes that involved wacky shit, dude. Like, what in the fuck? I'm talking about shit that defies reality. And, it defies the laws of physics. Like, literally going into wacky woo-woo shit, like demon possession and witch cults and magic and spell casting and like really crazy levels of government corruption in this tiny town. And I mean, it was all just literally unfolding right before my eyes at a very, very, very fast rate. We're just like starting on day one, whatever the exact date was, I don't remember, but let's say it's October 1st. Starting October 1st, it's just fucking boom, on and cracking. And then it's just boom, 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 all day cracking. And then every day for like 2 weeks straight. Where I'm talking about murder investigations involving the police and the government that were directly tied to the whole thing. Arson, death threats on me, arson, and all of it happening in 2 weeks. The whole fucking place burning down, include like half the block burning down. Not just the place that I lived, but like the 4-bedroom house next to it, the 2,000 square foot storage building on the other side, massive cover up of the arson, massive cover up of the murder, and I mean, what the fuck, right? So I just appreciate the idea of this, where it's like, just stop, just take a moment and pause and look at your life, in the last 3 or 4 years. And the guy that's interviewing him even said that right before I push play. He's asking, like, wondering how people are doing. Dude, this is key to everything. This is like key to everything, is how are you doing? What's going on with you? I don't care about, like, you pull up all this stuff that's on BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, YouTube, and all this stuff, and it's all these big stories. Oh, Iran, Palestine, Israel, orbs in Boston. And going back to what this guy who's interviewing Adapt 2030 brings up, which I didn't play it, but it's right there where I started playing, where the guy's like, yeah, he's like asking, how are you, and he's talking to his audience, and he expresses it with genuine curiosity. He's like, yeah, there's all this going on, all boom, bang, bang, 2019, ooh, all this, and he stops. He's like, but I'm just like, how are you, the audience, doing? Like, what's going on? What's going on with everyday people? We hear these big stories about Trump, the White House, Putin, interdimensional beings way over there and wherever, and all this big hysteria shit coming from these big fucking gatekeeper channels that don't even interact. There is no interpersonal interaction. That's really a key to so much of all of this, is how are just everyday people doing? What is going on with just everyday people? Who gives a fuck about Richie from Boston or Crow House or fucking the Palestine Israel or fucking Trump and the White House and Biden? And who gives a fuck? Like, we as a fucking whole society are ignoring just what is going on with just everyday people. And then shortly after, he kind of implies this with the question, like asking his audience, I'm just wondering, like, how are you guys doing? Like, what is, and then that's when Adapt 2030, goes into, yes, just please, I'm asking you as the audience, please just take a minute and look back on your life, like the last 3 or 4 years. And I'm just like, whoa. And I'm like, dude, I got to talk about it. Okay. And so we'll do the math. 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022. Dude, 2022 was like totally fucking insane. Like, the peak of all this insanity with 2019 and lockdowns and everything, 2022 for me was the pinnacle. It was like literal fucking bomb going on. Like, dude, a whole fucking half of a block just completely demolished, like a bomb went off. And it's like, and that's just the fire part. That doesn't include the murder investigation, and the whole fucking thing, including the death threat and all this stuff, right? And so, like, when all that was happening, I spent. So that was in 2022. I was still running my channel, and so I just started talking about it. But see, when I started talking about it, it didn't have anything to do with the hot, sexy flavor of the year subject of COVID. What I'm talking about has nothing to do with COVID, right? And so, like, everybody's being pumped 24/7 COVIDiodrome, and then this massive crazy shit happens to me that has nothing to do with any of that. So, I could talk about it till the cows come home. All anybody hears is 2019, COVID, 20, like, right? And actually, this interview with Adapt 2030, he's also talking about that, how, COVID was just an excuse. It was just a thing to blame this polar shift on, because they knew that he's what he's theorizing is that they knew the polar shift is happening, and so they threw COVID in there to keep everybody distracted from this polar shift. And then the effects of the polar shift, they blamed it on COVID, on the whole. Everything COVID was the reason for it. Oh well, because of COVID, or because the injections from COVID. It has to be 2019 related. So they use that to sweep all this polar shift under the rug. Anyways, I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm just saying, like, it's an interesting, just like the guy says in the interview, he's like, I've never even thought of that before. Like, that's a really likely, whatever. So, but I just thought it was interesting when he said that. I mean, and because, like, I was tripping out, like, is crazy shit like this happening to other people besides me, back in 2022? And then I talk about how just coincidentally, in 2020, the exact same thing happened to an old friend of mine who ended up, as a result, getting in a shootout with the cops over it and was shot and killed by the cops. Just coincidence. But, yeah, like, what's going on with everyday people in the last 3 or 4 years? See, we don't know, because all media has been dominated by the talking heads. There you see the talking heads on mainstream media. It's the same old motherfuckers, Hollywood, politicians, news. They're all the fucking talking heads of mainstream media. So then we all go to alt tech, because that's where the everyday people are. Well, no, that's all taken over by the alt tech talk heads. The alt tech talking heads, like fucking Richie from Boston, Corbett Report, all these guys, and they're talking about Israel, and they're talking about CERN, and they're talking about, and I loved this section in Adapt 2030 where the guy's just like wanting to find out, like, what is going on with just everyday people. How are you guys doing? How have you been doing the last 2 or 3 years, or 3 or 4 years? And then that's when Adapt 2030 was like, yes, please, like imploring his audience, please just stop and take a look at your personal life in the last 3 or 4 years. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been trying to say the whole time. And then everybody's calling me a liar and saying that I'm crazy and I'm a liar and all this shit. But all they want to do, all this COVIDiodrome, like fucking clickbait COVIDiodrome, it's all real. But when I, as a real everyday person, say this insane things happen to me, oh, I'm just a liar. But the clickbait COVIDiodrome is all real, and I'm just a liar. So the alt tech talking heads, what they say is real. But an everyday person, oh, he's just a liar. He's trying to get clicks and likes and views. What? Anyway. And so that's been part of the point of doing the storyboard is trying to articulate what has been happening to me, looking back on the last 3 or 4 years. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's the craziest shit possibly that I've ever seen in my life. But it doesn't matter, I guess. All that matters is what Richie from Boston or any of these others, they're all the same, dude. They're all fucking the same. Just like all the talking heads on mainstream media are all the same. But yeah, look at your life. And dude, I used to do that on my channel too. And I used to say that is like, I want to know how you're doing. I don't give a fuck about these fucking dumb fucks in popular and trending. Can't you see that they're fucking idiots? I don't care. I care about like what's going on with you. Like, what's happening with you? Fuck. Diverting your attention to all these talking heads in the limelight. Like, what's going on with you? What's going on with everyday people? Doesn't anybody care what's going on with everyday people? Do we always have to, everything is fucking Richie from Boston and fucking, we are change and dude, like, like, what the fuck? Right? So anyway, whatever, right? Whatever. It doesn't matter. This goes back to, I could complain, but what's the point? There is no point. Because it's a brave new world. Brave new world is our reality now. So nothing matters. Because it's literally a brave new world now. The brave new world is what we exist in right now. So truth doesn't matter. Like, nothing matters. It's just pop pills, get pills from the doctor, pop lots of pills. The more pills you get, the better, right? Because that's brave new world. Everything is red pills or some kind of pills. It's all got to be pills. We need to get pills. In the health industry, they got lots of pills. Big pharma. Everybody take all the pills. One time I was talking with this tarot reader who was like, say what you will about him. That motherfucker had been doing tarot for like 30 years. Say what you want. But anybody who has practiced tarot consistently and committed to tarot for like 30 years or something, they're going to have some insight no matter what you want to think otherwise. And I talked to this tarot reader one time, right? I was like talking to him I was like getting free readings from him every day for like fucking a month or two. Because we became friends. He's called the Spiritual Hobo. I've actually seen people post his videos on BitChute and shit. And we were talking one day, right? And he's like, man, he asked me to think about something. He goes, dude, think about this. He goes, think about all the fucking pills that Big Pharma produces. All the trillions and trillions of Big Pharma pills of all different colors and kinds and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, dude, now think about, where do all those pills go? And he stumped me because I was like, where do they go? I'm like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean? Do they end up in the water system or something and then we're drinking the water? He goes, no, bro. All these people around you, they're all taking them. Look around at all these people. They're all fucking all these pills that Big Pharma, these trillions of pills, look around at all these people. They're all taking all those fucking pills. And I was like, oh my God, dude. But you know what? Whatever. I could complain. We could complain, but it ain't going to change nothing. All these people taking all these fucking pills. But whenever we hear about a drug addict, it's always some homeless guy on the street with a needle in his arm is the drug addict. But all these people all around us that have been eating all these Big Pharma pills this whole fucking time, oh, they're not drug addicts. No, they're just whatever. It's whatever. Really. Just whatever, huh? Yeah. Those homeless drug addicts again. Dude, like, so dumb, bro. Unbelievable. Anyway, whatever. All right, so anyways, that's it. That's all I got. Once I start talking about homelessness, I got to shut up because I'll start getting pissed off.